There's a moment every one of us faces, that quiet war between what we want to do and what we know we need to do. That's the moment that defines your future. Most people wait for motivation. They wait for inspiration, for the perfect time, for the right feeling. But the truth is, motivation doesn't come first. Action does. You don't start because you feel ready. You feel ready because you start. Every person you admire, every success story you've ever heard, they didn't feel like it either. They just forced themselves to begin. They made the uncomfortable choice when it was easier to stay comfortable. See, the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't filled with talent, luck, or motivation. It's filled with discipline. Discipline means doing it anyway, even when you're tired, even when it's boring, even when no one's watching. And that's the difference between people who dream and people who do. Dreamers wait for the mood. Doors build habits. Dreamers hope for progress. Doors create momentum. The secret: start small, but start now. Don't wait for the right time. There isn't one. Don't wait to feel inspired. You'll waste your life waiting. Force yourself to get up early. Force yourself to make that call. Force yourself to show up. Because every time you do something difficult, you're proving to yourself that you can. And that's how confidence is built, not from words, not from affirmations, but from evidence. Evidence that you are capable. Evidence that you can rely on yourself. One day, you'll look back and realize it wasn't luck. It wasn't motivation. It was you, the version of you that refused to quit, that pushed through resistance, that forced yourself to get things done, even when it wasn't easy. Because success doesn't belong to the talented. It belongs to the disciplined. It belongs to those who act even when they don't feel like it. So stop waiting. Stop negotiating with your excuses. You don't need motivation, you need momentum. And momentum begins with one thing: action. Most people believe that motivation is the spark that sets everything in motion. That once they feel inspired, they'll finally take action. But that belief is what keeps so many people stuck. The truth is, motivation rarely comes first. It's not the fuel that gets you started. It's the result that comes ours after you start. Action is what creates motivation. When you begin to move, even in small ways, your brain starts to shift. You create momentum, and momentum builds energy, focus, and drive. Think about it. How many times have you waited to feel ready before doing something important? Maybe you told yourself you'd start the project when you had more time, or you'd go to the gym when you felt more motivated. But days, weeks, or even months passed, and that feeling never really came. That's because motivation is not a starting point, it's a response to progress. When you take action, no matter how small, you give your mind proof that you're capable, and that proof triggers a sense of pride, energy, and forward motion. The very feelings people mistake for motivation. Imagine trying to push a heavy car that's not moving. The first push takes all your strength. It's uncomfortable and difficult. But once the wheels start turning, every push becomes easier. That's what action does. It overcomes inertia. Once you take that first uncomfortable step, your brain begins to work with you instead of against you. You start thinking, maybe I can do this. And that tiny spark of belief grows stronger with every bit of progress you make. People who achieve great things aren't superhuman. They just understand this principle. They don't wait to feel like doing it. They do it so they can feel like it. They start small, commit to action, and let motivation catch up. The beauty of this mindset is that it gives you control. You're no longer waiting for the perfect moment or the right emotional state. You create your own momentum by simply doing the work. So the next time you find yourself saying, "I'll start when I'm motivated," remember that you're giving your power away. Take one small action instead. Make the call, open the book, go for the run. Action doesn't just build progress, it builds the motivation to keep going. Talent is often celebrated as the key to success, but talent without discipline is like a car without fuel. It looks impressive, but it doesn't go anywhere. Discipline is what transforms potential into progress. It's the ability to show up, to put in the work, and to keep going even when excitement fades and no one is watching. While talent can open a door, discipline is what keeps it open. It's the quiet force behind every great achievement, the habit of choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. There are countless talented people who never reach their potential because they rely too much on their natural abilities. They start strong, full of enthusiasm, But the moment challenges appear or motivation disappears, they stop. On the other hand, disciplined people, even those with average skills, keep going. They practice daily, they make mistakes, they learn and they improve. Over time, their consistent effort compounds into mastery. It's not because they're better, it's because they're relentless. Discipline doesn't care how gifted you are. It rewards effort, patience, and persistence. Inspiration can make you start, but discipline makes you stay. Inspiration is like a spark, bright and exciting, but fleeting. Discipline is the steady flame that keeps burning when the spark goes out. Successful people understand that feelings are unreliable. They change every day. You won't always feel inspired or motivated, but you can always choose discipline. That's what separates professionals from amateurs. The professional does the work no matter how they feel. The amateur waits to feel right before doing anything. Discipline also builds trust within yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, whether it's waking up early, sticking to a plan, or finishing what you start, you strengthen your self-belief. You begin to see yourself as dependable, as someone who follows through. That quiet confidence becomes your greatest strength. Talent might impress others, but discipline earns respect, both from others and from yourself. In the end, talent can fade and inspiration can disappear, but discipline endures. It's the habit of doing the right thing, especially when it's hard. It's what allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results. Because while talent sets the stage, discipline performs the play, day after day, until success becomes inevitable. Progress doesn't happen in one giant leap, it's built one small step at a time. The idea that success requires huge, dramatic actions often discourages people before they even begin. But real growth comes from consistency, from small, steady steps that compound into something powerful over time. When you take a small step every day, you create momentum, and momentum becomes your greatest ally. It turns effort into habit, and habit into transformation. Think about how a snowball starts rolling down a hill. At first, it's small and slow, barely moving. But as it keeps rolling, it gathers more snow, more weight, more speed. Eventually, it becomes unstoppable. That's how momentum works in life. Every small action you take, every early morning, every page you read, every small goal you complete adds to your momentum. It might not seem like much in the beginning, but over time, it grows into something remarkable. The problem is that most people underestimate the power of small steps because they don't bring instant results. They look for quick wins, immediate changes, and dramatic breakthroughs. But lasting success is built quietly in the moments that seem insignificant. The person who takes one small step every day will always go further than the person who waits for the perfect plan or the perfect time. The small step is what breaks resistance. It's what turns procrastination into progress. Momentum also changes the way you think. When you take consistent action, even on a small scale, your brain starts associating effort with achievement. You begin to see proof that you can make things happen. That sense of progress fuels motivation and builds confidence. The more momentum you build, the easier it becomes to keep going because success begins to feel natural instead of forced. Every big achievement you admire, every successful business, every skill mastered, every transformation story began with a single small step. Someone decided to start, even when it felt pointless or slow. The magic wasn't in one massive act, it was in the courage to take small, imperfect steps again and again. Over time, those steps built momentum so powerful, it changed everything. That's the truth. Most people miss greatness isn't built in a day. It's built daily, one small step at a time. There will always be days when you don't feel like doing anything. Days when your mind says you need a break, when your emotions whisper that it doesn't matter, and when everything inside you wants to take the easy way out. But it's in those exact moments that your decisions matter the most. Success isn't built on how you feel. It's built on what you do despite how you feel. The ability to act when you don't feel like it is what separates those who talk about their goals from those who actually achieve them. Feelings are fleeting. They rise and fall like waves, unpredictable, inconsistent, and often misleading. If you only act when you feel motivated, you'll never get far because motivation is temporary. Discipline, however, is stable. It doesn't ask for permission from your emotions. It demands action regardless of mood. Every time you push yourself to do something you don't feel like doing, waking up early, finishing a task, showing up when it's uncomfortable, you strengthen your mental muscle. You teach yourself that you are in control, not your feelings. The truth is, no one feels like giving their best every single day. Even the most successful people have moments of doubt, fatigue, and frustration. But they show up anyway. They understand that consistency builds progress, not inspiration. By taking action when you least feel like it, you build resilience. And resilience is what carries you through the days when motivation disappears. Those small, tough choices compound over time and turn into character, strength, and confidence. Each time you act against your resistance, you create proof that you can rely on yourself. That proof becomes powerful. It makes you stronger the next time you face hesitation. You start realizing that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment or the perfect mindset. You just need to move. Action breeds clarity, and clarity breeds momentum. The more you do, the more capable you feel, and soon, what once felt impossible becomes part of your routine. So when that inner voice says, "Not today," that's your signal to go anyway, because those are the moments that define who you become. Growth doesn't happen when it's easy. It happens when you push through discomfort and prove to yourself that you can. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And the foundation of real, unshakable confidence is evidence. It's not about repeating positive affirmations or pretending to believe in yourself. It's about proving through action that you can trust yourself. Every time you make a promise to yourself and keep it, you gather evidence that you are capable, reliable, and strong. That evidence becomes the quiet voice that says, "I can handle this," even when doubt tries to creep in. Most people look for confidence before taking action, but that's backward. Confidence doesn't come first, action does. You can't think your way into believing in yourself. You have to earn that belief. Each small win, each goal achieved, each uncomfortable step taken becomes proof that you are capable of more than you think. Over time, this collection of proof becomes your armor. It protects you from fear, self-doubt, and insecurity because you have real, undeniable evidence of your own strength. Think about how trust works in any relationship. You don't just decide to trust someone, they earn it by keeping their word consistently. The same is true with yourself. If you constantly set goals and don't follow through, you teach your brain that your words don't mean much. But when you follow through, even in small ways, you teach yourself that you can be trusted. That's where genuine confidence begins, in the quiet consistency of doing what you said you would do. This kind of confidence isn't loud or showy. It's calm, grounded, and unshakable. It doesn't depend on compliments, results, or validation from others. It comes from knowing that you have evidence of your effort, your discipline, and your resilience. You've faced challenges before, and you've come through them. That's proof. You failed but kept going. That's proof. You've done hard things even when you didn't want to. That's proof. Each piece of evidence becomes a brick in the foundation of your confidence. So if you want to feel more confident, stop waiting for the feeling to appear. Start creating evidence. Keep small promises, take small actions, and build momentum. With every step, your confidence will grow stronger. Not because someone told you you're good enough, but because you've seen for yourself that you are. Success is not reserved for the most talented, the most intelligent, or the most inspired. It belongs to those who are disciplined enough to keep moving forward when others stop. Discipline is the ability to act according to your goals, not your moods. It's choosing what's right over what's easy, what's needed over what's comfortable. Success doesn't come from occasional bursts of motivation. It comes from the steady, deliberate actions of those who stay consistent long after the excitement fades. The disciplined person doesn't rely on perfect conditions. They don't wait for inspiration or convenience. They create progress through routine and commitment. While others are waiting for the right time, they are already working. They understand that showing up every day, even imperfectly, beats showing up once in a while with passion. That's why discipline always outperforms talent, because it doesn't depend on feelings. It's steady, reliable, and persistent even when everything else feels uncertain. True discipline is not punishment, it's a form of self-respect. It's saying, I value my goals enough to do what it takes to reach them. Every time you follow through on a task, resist a distraction, or stay focused on your vision, you're proving your commitment to yourself. That commitment builds power, a quiet strength that doesn't need external validation. The disciplined don't chase motivation. They build momentum. They know that progress may be slow, but consistency always compounds. The people who achieve lasting success are rarely the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who stayed the course when things got hard. They worked through doubt, boredom, and fatigue because they understood that discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Every time they showed up, on the days they didn't feel like it, they were building the foundation of their success. Over time, those small, disciplined choices became unstoppable progress. Success belongs to the disciplined because they don't depend on luck or emotion. They trust the process, stay committed to the grind, and honor their responsibilities to themselves. While talent can give you a head start, only discipline can take you to the finish line. It's the quiet, consistent force that turns dreams into reality, the daily decision to do what needs to be done, no matter how you feel. So when you look at the people who've achieved something remarkable, in business, in sports, in life, remember this: they weren't always motivated, and they weren't always confident, but they were disciplined. They showed up when it was hard. They did the work when no one was watching. They made progress one small step at a time, and that's what set them apart. Your dreams are possible, but they demand consistency. They demand that you act when you don't feel like it, that you push through resistance, and that you keep your promises to yourself. Because discipline isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're building the life you said you wanted. Every time you follow through, you're shaping your future. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for motivation to knock on your door. Start now. Show up. Do it anyway. Because success doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the disciplined. And if you stay consistent, one day you'll look back and realize it wasn't a miracle. It was simply you, doing what needed to be done over and over again until it became greatness.